Hey there, let's talk about translating percent problems, or essentially solving equations. We're going to be given some information and we're going to have an unknown, and we're going to create an equation, solve for that unknown, and then we'll have our answer. Now there are basically three types of percent problems. So in a percent problem you're going to have a part, a whole, and that's going to give you a rate. That's going to equal a rate, which is in decimal form. And then we're going to go ahead and convert that decimal by multiplying it to 100, which will then give us our percent. So really we're solving for one of these three things here. This one here. And we're going to look at some questions and decipher how to set up these equations. Now let's first talk about some language. The word is going to mean equal to, okay? Of will mean multiply. Okay, so this is multiply. And then we've got a couple ways of writing our unknown. We could say a number, what number, or what percent. Okay, and in all these cases we're talking about an unknown, and I'm going to use the letter n, and I don't use x because we're going to be using some multiplication in here. I don't want to make that confusing for students, so I use n, and basically that means that's our unknown. Okay, we don't know, but we're going to figure it out. Now the other thing you want to be comfortable with is converting between not fractions but decimals and percents. So say you have 12%, and when we put a percent into an equation, we're going to go ahead and convert that to a decimal. And to do that, what that 12% really means is 12 per 100, which, as you can see, is a division problem. We're dividing 12 by 100. So we're really going to be moving that decimal over two places to the left, or essentially divide by 100. So we're going to get 0.12, or 12 hundredths. Now, to change a decimal to a percent, we're going to do the opposite of dividing. We're going to multiply by 100. So if we have 22 hundredths, or 0.22, and we want to convert that to a percent, we're essentially going to be moving the decimal point over 2 to the right, or basically multiply by 100, and that would give us 22%. So you want to be comfortable in these two abilities here, because we're going to be using them, and if you want some additional help in class, let me know. I'll find some extra work for you and have you go through some extra problems. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about an example. I'm going to give you an example for each type of problem. So for instance, if we want to solve for the part, it might look like this. So we might have a problem that says, what number is 15% of 63? Okay, what number is 15% of 63? Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and create an equation based on this question. Here's my unknown part. Okay, is going to mean equal, and then I've got 15% of, which is multiply, so 15% times 63. Now I'm going to go ahead and change that 15% to a decimal, which would be 0.15. So notice, if we want to find the part, we're basically multiplying the percent to the whole. Okay, this is going to be our whole amount. Now I'll go ahead and get the calculator here just to make it a little quicker. We're going to go 0.15 times 63, and we get 9.45. So 9 and 45 hundredths is going to be equivalent to 15% of 63. Okay, now let's go ahead and solve for the whole, and I'll give you an example of that. Let's see. So say we say 25 is 40% of what number, or a number? Okay. 25 is 40% of what number? This 25 is going to represent the part, and this, of course, is the percent. This will represent our whole. Remember, is equal, and of is multiply. So we just bring down the 25 equals 40% as a decimal is 0.4 or 0.40. And we don't know what this is, so we're just going to have n. And if you want to tighten it up, make it look a little cleaner, we'll have something like this. Okay. Now, like before, we're going to isolate, so we're going to do the opposite of multiply. We're going to divide. So 25 divided by 4/10. Let's see what we get here. So we got 25 divided by 4/10 is 62.5. So out of the total, 40% of 62.5 is going to be 25. So there you go. And if you wanted to, if you wanted to double check, because part divided by whole will give you the rate, should give you 0.4. Let's go ahead and plug that in. Let's say we have 25 divided by 62.5. Let's see what we get. We should get 0.4. 25 divided by 62.5. And sure enough, we get 0.4, which of course we can make into 40% by multiplying by 100. Okay, let's do one in which we're looking for the rate or the percent, and we might have a question that looks like this. What percent of 42 is 21? What percent of 42 is 21? Well, clearly we're looking for the percent because I'm asking you that. So we're going to say this is n, and this is times 42 equals 21. Okay. Now I know the number is after the n, but remember, commutative property, order doesn't matter when you're multiplying. So you could switch it around if you wanted. I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to go ahead and divide by 42 both sides, and I'm left with n equals, looks like 1/2. Now what is 1/2 as a decimal? Well, it's going to be equal to 0.5. Now if we want to convert this to a percent, remember we do want to multiply by 100, and so that's going to give you 50%. And if you go ahead and plug in, well, we already did that. 21 divided by 42 is going to equal 1/2, which is 50%. Okay, we're going to do lots more in class. These are just some basic examples of the 3 different percent problems and translating words into equations. Of course, that's always good practice. So like I said, we're going to do a lot more problems in class.